extra time.
Justin, in terms of the numbers, I mean, everyone reflects on how many losses it is now in the row, but you tried a few different things this series. Is that the best way for you to look at it to see what worked?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that was another great game of cricket, wasn't it? It's not as if it's been a really one-sided series either. So, great game of cricket. We had our chances though, didn't we, tonight? So you drop MS Dhoni a couple of times. You don't give great players chances. We did that tonight. But I was really proud of the way the boys kept fighting. We've done it all summer. India have been too good for us all summer in the Test series and in this one-day series. But it's been pretty close, really, hasn't it? So the boys have fought hard. I think we've seen some real positives. Jai Richardson's been a shining light. I think Peter Hanscom in the middle order has been excellent. He's done a really good job for us. Sean Marsh again's been in great nick throughout the series. We've had our chances, we just didn't take it. And again tonight, it gets down to the 49th over, and MS Dhoni is there at the end again. It's another great lesson for our squad. We talk about match winners, we talk about getting the job done, we talk about being there at the end. MS Dhoni's showing us again, so another great tutorial for our batters.
Justin, so just to follow on from that, are you, after this 3 matches, are you clearer with the way you want to take this one-day side, both on the 2 subcontinent tours, but more importantly heading into the World Cup?
Absolutely. We're crystal clear of the game plan, and I think we've executed it really well off the bat the first 2 games. We didn't quite get it today. We lost some wickets. We obviously 5-6 wickets to the leg spinner. I mean, that's something that we've talked about. We're going to get better. I think we've played Indian spinners pretty well so far this series, but we come unstuck today. But we're really clear how we want to play. Like I say, we got really close this series. I mean, it comes down to the last over twice, and we win the second one. So first or second one? First, was it? Yeah. So it's been another real arm wrestle. It's been a great series, but we're very clear how we want to play our cricket. Yeah, no doubt, and that's a good feeling for us. Hey, John.
Yeah, Justin, you mentioned Sean and Peter. One thing ahead of this series was, I guess, that change of perhaps going back to the idea of having your middle order specialist guys who will work the ball around in that middle period of a one-day game. Is that now something you can talk to the guys and say, look, we now see what that looks like. It's more about what happens up the top and at the back end either side of those innings or those sorts of performances?
Yeah, definitely. And we've identified the areas. We identify the first period, usually 1 to 10 overs or 15 overs. That's where we've probably fallen down this series. I mean, statistically, that's where we've fallen down. We've been pretty good in the middle overs. Besides today, we've played the spinners really well statistically. And we finished okay with just those last couple of overs in game 2 and then obviously tonight. So they're areas that we have talked about before the series started. We were good in patches of it. We're not so good in other patches, but we know what we're trying to do, and we just need the guys to be able to execute the plans now. And we've done it pretty well this series, I reckon.
And just one more on those 2 guys. Obviously, they've been very well performed in this series immediately after getting dropped from the Test team. Can you, I suppose, relate to that from your own experiences at times where if you might go out of a team and then maybe it was for you going back to play for Western Australia or something like that, can that bring a release or a release of pressure or something to refresh someone?
Yeah, maybe. I really admire what they've both done, though. To be dropped, I know there's a Test match starting on Thursday, to be dropped. A lot of guys walk away with their tail between the leg, but they've stood up. They're still getting exposure to international cricket. They're a really important part of Australian cricket. So for the way they've both played is a great credit to their character. I honestly believe. I think they've done a fantastic job. We didn't quite get over the line, but those guys led the way really on the back of the disappointment of missing on the Test series. So that's as I said, a great credit to them. I really admire them. I really respect what they've done, and they'll be better for it in the future.
Justin, you just take us from your point of view watching when those catches are going down and those sort of half chances are missed, and then a review that wasn't taken. How do you handle that when you're sitting watching?
Nugget Rees talks about it before every game. Catches win matches. We've been hearing that since we were little kids. So, as I said, you give good players chances and you give great players chances. You usually suffer the consequences. So we did that tonight, and it's never ideal. We know we've got some work to do. We've got some work to do in our field. We've got plenty of work to do, but we've probably got 6 months to keep chipping. Actually, we've got a few years to keep chipping away at it. But certainly in the short term, we've got some areas of improvement on the back of getting close to India, who are a very good team.
Justin, in terms of spin, you mentioned you played them well first couple of games, not so well today. Do those games in the subcontinent now and the UAE become absolutely vital, maybe the most important thing before going to England in terms of dealing with the turning ball, given that historically over the last couple of years the record's been quite poor? Yeah, short term and long term actually. I mean, every opportunity we get to play in the subcontinent against spin bowling, it's traditionally been our weakness in Australian cricket, hasn't it? So every opportunity we get, this is another, we're going to have 10 ODIs and 2 T20s in the subcontinent, so or certainly in India and then Dubai. So great opportunities for us. We know we're going to get a lot of spin in the World Cup. The more we get to practice it, we've identified it, we're practicing so hard at training, then you've got to put it into a game scenario. So really good opportunity for us. That coin, Adam's performance tonight with the ball, just your reflections on that, and do you think it's realistic based on what we've seen in the UK in the last 4 or 5 summers that you'll need 2 frontline spinners to play when you get to June? I think it'll depend on the opposition, and it'll depend on that we play quite early in the season in England. I think it'll depend very much on who we have our best 4 bowlers, and that's what will come, whether they're spin or fast bowlers, but it certainly gives us an option. We don't traditionally play 2 spinners, Australians, in one-day cricket, but it might come up in the World Cup. Certainly in India and UAE, there's a good chance that'll happen, yeah. And just on Adam tonight? Say it again? On Adam's performance. I thought Adam bowled really well. We've identified, though, that you've got to be between the 10 and 40 over mark, we've got to take wickets, because otherwise it gets down to the end. And that's what happened to us tonight. We lost wickets in the middle overs, and then you get down to the end and you haven't got your main batsman in. The other night we did it beautifully, but Sean and Maxi got out in the same over when they were we could have got another 10 or 15 runs the other night. It's important to have your frontline batters in the last 4 or 5 overs, or the last 10 overs ideally. But we didn't take the wickets in the middle overs. That said, I thought Zamps, what I was most impressed with him, we talk about the great leg spinners beat the bat on both sides of the wicket. Traditionally, he bowls wrong-uns and toppies, but he bowls some really good legs. I know he's working hard on his leg spinner. If he can spin the ball both ways, he becomes a fantastic option for us, as we're seeing all around the world. I mean, it's no secret to anyone that the leg spinners are having a huge impact on the game, and most of them who can spin it both ways, and Zamps showed. I mean, some of those leggies he bowled tonight was very pleasing, I'd say.
With Nathan Lyon, then Justin, or do you look elsewhere now for us?
Oh no, definitely no. Nathan Lyon's probably the best off spinner in the world. So the reason he didn't play tonight is that we felt that he had played the 2 games on the back of the philosophy of trying to take wickets in the middle overs. Lyon hadn't taken any wickets, so we thought and also with the number of right-handers in the Indian side, we decided to go for Zamps to spin the ball away from the bat rather into it. But Nathan Lyon, he's a gun. He's a world-class spinner. We know that. He's a very, very good fielder, and he's one of our senior members of the team. So tonight, there's going to be opportunities like we just talked about Adam, that you might play both of them. And then if it doesn't, depending on the opposition, then we'll pick one of those 2 to play in the World Cup, I reckon.
Justin, Steve Smith and David Warner obviously both had injuries in Bangladesh. Are you any closer now to knowing whether you would use them in those last couple of games in the UAE if they are fit?
Still, and I'm just being 100% honest and transparent, but there's so much. I'm sure that'll change things a bit with their injuries. So they're both having. Steve's had surgery, David's having surgery, so we have to wait and see how the recovery goes. But I'm just being honest. We haven't come to any conclusions with that yet. There's a lot to be talked about. We've got to weigh up between competitive games of cricket, probably in the IPL, and whether it's worth them being there for the last few games. We'll work all that out. We'll work it out over the next little bit and make sure we communicate it well with them and communicate it well with the team, and hopefully we'll get the best result for the going forward.
General balance in those sort of two tours in India and the UAE, guys like the frontline sort of test quicks, do you expect them to play a lot of those games? And obviously you've got other guys who you want to keep running through as well.
Yeah, at this stage you want to try and get the team as close to possible as what we're going to use in the World Cup. So yeah, I'm very hopeful that the boys will all be up and running, and we've got 2 test matches coming up. It's amazing, isn't it? We've got a test match starting on Thursday, but incredible the schedule. But yeah, we'll hopefully have them up and running and get closer to the combination, or certainly the squad. You need a squad of 15 to win a World Cup, not just your best 11 players. So there's been some real shining lights from this series against India. Hopefully we can keep finding some more shining lights over the next 3 or 4 months.
Justin, how would you describe Mahendra Singh Dhoni in this series? Because keeping in mind when Rishabh Pant was sent home, eyebrows were raised, some said he had lost, his strike rate has gone down. End of the day, what image remains? Is that of a master strategist or someone struggling with age? What is the image?
Well, I'll tell you what I know about MS Dhoni. He's 37 years old. His running between wickets is elite. His fitness is elite at 37 years old. And we'll be talking about that in our change room tonight. If MS Dhoni can come out here and run between wickets like he does and wicket keep for 50 overs, that's the level that the whole world should be aspiring to, and certainly what we'll be aspiring to. I mean, for him to run between the wickets like he did for 3 days in a row, it was 40 degrees the other day too, and to play like he has, that's why he's a superstar of the game. And that's what all our players in the Australians should be aspiring to, be superstars of the game. They've got the opportunity when they play international cricket, and MS Dhoni, like Virat throughout the whole summer, like Pujara in the Test series, they give us a really great role models for what we should be aspiring to. And MS Dhoni, I mean, his record, everything speaks for itself. He's, as a captain, as a player, as a wicket-keeper, his record speaks for itself. He is literally an all-time great of the game, and it's been as hard as it is to lose, it's a privilege to play against those guys, or for our young blokes. And I'll be amazed if they don't learn a lot from playing against the guys they've played this summer. It's been, for a young squad, an inexperienced Test squad, and now the one-day side, there is no better lessons or no better learning as a player to rub shoulders with great players and then watch the great players in action. We've just seen that over the last week. So for us, it's I'm glad we've had the experience.
About the confidence of the guys that played in the Test and into the one-day team. Some of them did well, some of them were a bit middling, some of them didn't get runs at all. What's the confidence, and you're reminding confidence levels like, and you mentioned how you've got close in these particular one-day games. What are the confidence, and what are you ramming home to them, particularly, I say, guys like Aaron Finch, in terms of where they're at?
Well, I honestly believe we should take great confidence out of this series. Because we got, again, India are a gun side, and we've got very, very close to it. We could have won tonight. We'd take our chances. We could have won the other night. So we should take great confidence out of it. We've got another couple of tests coming up. We've got two series in the subcontinent. So I honestly think there's some light at the end of the tunnel for this team. I really do. And you can see we can look at the win-loss, and that's really disappointing, and Finchy will come good. He's got 11 ODI hundreds. He'll come good. But often when they're playing India, they've got really good plans against him. And when you're searching for runs, I promise you there's no more lonely place in the world. Every player's been through it. Every great player's been through it. So Aaron Finch will come good. We know how good a player he is. We know what a ripping person he is. So he'll come good. He's just a little bit of time away now from this series, and that absolute glaring spotlight of playing Test cricket or one days against India. He can go and play some big bash now and get away. He'll spend a bit more time in his bed probably, and away from the glaring spotlight, he'll probably find a bit of freedom again. And I've got no doubt he'll come good. He's a beauty, and as I said, we'll take some great confidence out of not just this series, but also the Test series, believe it or not.
hit the subscribe option and the bell icon to get all the exclusive sports videos on Extra Time.